Die Hard. Poignant, considering that I'm going to die if I have to yell at Grado more. So I'm going to try to be real nice this review about Grado. Because, I mean, that wallpaper. You know, if you've watched my videos long enough, you know that if there's a good wallpaper, there's something good on the desk. But don't look at the face. Look at the disappointment in Bowsette's face. Because I'm not disappointed with the sound. These fucking headphones sound amazing, and I'm going to stop at some point and put on different pads so we can check it out. But the SR60X, which are new, and the SR80X, which are new, I guess you could say they mark a milestone in the history of Grado, where their sound signature, they just keep improving on it and getting better and more to my liking and taste. And even, these are my original SR60s, which I obviously have different pads on than stock, and I did all the complaining I did with the attached cable and things, and the shitty build, and my Hemps, I just jerked way off onto the Hemps, and now Shipabo saw my video, and they're a company out in Europe. I'm just gonna say Europe. I think it was Poland. No, Slovenia, whatever it is. But they're like, hey, we're gonna send you some of our stuff so you can make the Hemps not suck. And I'm like, thank you, please, God. So I will link to Shipbo, who sells this like comfort headband and actually aluminum, believe this, aluminum blocks that you could replace. So you could replace just the headband or just the blocks or both. And I haven't done anything about this attached wire, this pesky, super annoying attached wire. Just wait. Just wait. So I have the 60s out to compare against the SR60X to the E, and I got the Hemps out just because I love the Hemps, and they're finally put together, and they got these pads, and So what about these? Do we want to talk about the good things or the bad things? Good things. Holy fuck, do they sound amazing. And they're not expensive. The 60s are $100 on Amazon, and these are $125. So I think at that point, I'm really sitting here, and I've got a bunch of equipment that's coming up to review, just playing them. I've got the rack on, I've got things that I know, playing the things that I know, and I've been swapping around, but for the viewing purposes of the test, this is what's currently going on. With them being so close in price, I was hoping they'd have a very big difference in sound. Like if you sell the Model A headphone and the Model B headphone, and the one's $99 and one's $105, are we assuming the one that's slightly more money is better in all aspects? Or is it like this one's sharp, trebly, and wide, and this one's narrow, bassy, and low? Like that would be the way I would do it. The thing is, I'm swapping amps, I'm swapping plugs, and I'm trying to listen to the 60s and the 80s and go, well, what's the difference? Because you should be wanting to sell me the more expensive one as the better one, if, you know, science works out. So I'm going to, actually, before I do that, I'm going to lower that, I'm going to lower that. Okay, that's a good consistent. Wait. Okay, that sounds amazing. Let's do this again. I've done that so many times off camera that my ears hurt from the foam. We're getting to the foam in the build, but I want to talk about sound first because nobody makes it too far into these videos. These are so close in signature, and I'm doing solid state. I wasn't going to start fucking tubes up and things just for fucking sanity's sake. It's solid state, and I'm trying to keep it to like the same family. I know this is a Soncause amp, and that's an SMSL amp, but that's a matrix stack, and that's a matrix stack that's feeding the deck. As things move on in my heart, I'm just listening to it and going, okay. I almost think I like the 60s maybe better, because it's just a little bit warmer, which is like, oh, is that the way that works? Because there's no, I can't do it like this. I want to do this. Like, I want to talk about sound first and ignore the fucking problems, but the face. So, Grado, I'm not going to talk to you like I did with the Hemps, where I gave you a disciplining lesson. I've accepted the fact that you're not going to change. Except what Grado did was change. They changed things. This is the 60s. These are the last revision. And the pads haven't changed. These are the same pads you get on the old school Grados, and I don't like them very much, but they apparently will break in these, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy level, like orange foam. They're not the worst thing ever, but like default communist headphone pads, there you go. What Grado changed was, instead of this headband, which is pitiful, which is plastic blocks on metal rods, and then like literally just a hard vinyl thing like around steel, they actually made an improvement with the headband. It's now got actual padding, motherfucking padding. It's still vinyl, but it's soft. Like that's nice. That is a marked I like it improvement. Nothing else has been improved on the headphone. Pads haven't improved. Blocks haven't improved. Rods haven't improved. The little rubber caps that just pop off haven't improved. And then we're going to talk. I'm getting into it early just because I want to get out of the way. We're talking about the wire. I've never been a fan of Grado's attached wire, right? If you go back and watch the SR60 review, it wasn't a fan of the attached wire. You go back and look at the hemp review, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, look at this thick fucking monstrous attached cable. Who needs this? Just detach it. So somehow, through the work of only Satan, Grado found the energy and the vigor, I think, just to fuck with me, because they changed the wire. I heard Grados are coming with a new wire, and I'm like, a detachable wire? And the first checkbox was no. And I'm like, okay, but like maybe it won't be like a vacuum cord like this. I mean, this is their more expensive one. We like the way our wires sound. I heard them say that. They like the way their wires sound. No one gives a fuck about how the wires sound. They're wires. Just make wires nice to touch physically with my body. My ears don't care about the wire. If your ears care about the wire, please in the comments explain about how, well, if you have a 19% silver content in it, that it can change the timbre. Just explain it to me. Because MRI machines don't give a fuck about the wires used as long as they're not garbage. So all I want is a not garbage wire that doesn't feel bad. So I was hoping, beyond hope, that what they would do is just make this like a thinner, like more honestly, looking back now at these SR60Es, this wire's fucking fantastic. Because the block here is while annoying and sharp, and it's like manageable. What did you do, Grado? So they took the soft, flexible rubber wire, which I didn't like, and they made it thicker for the hemps. Ooh. And they wrapped it in fucking nylon. Like, and they made it thicker for everybody. So now, even if you get the cheapest headphones, the $100 headphones, you get a wire thicker than the hemps, wrapped in an uncomfortable, unyielding. I've had these like out. I love these headphones. They sound amazing. I'm going to recommend them. Links in the description. Please buy them. Listen to the sound demo. The sound demo was a pain in the ass, and I filmed it like a month and a half ago after I was done breaking these in, because I couldn't stand to put them on my fucking... This is so big. They've made everything about the wires worse. Every single aspect of it. I think even the split's shorter. Yeah, look at that. I think the split is just maybe a modicum shorter. I can't tell. Look, if I twist this, I could rotate the fucking headphones over. That's not a thing that should happen. That's not a physical good thing. 3.5 millimeter, 1/4 inch adapter. Still says Grado here. Nice strain relief. If I start here, if this is all you see, things aren't so bad. Because you see, like, oh, that's a nylon fucking thing. But the stiffness and the unremovable jank, and it's microphonic as fuck. They went backwards. They went backwards. Plug you back in. Finding my Zen. We're going to move on. All you have to know is they've improved the headband. They've not touched the pads. And they fucked the wire even harder than it was. Maybe they're in cahoots with people who do the mods. Because the people who are doing the mods, like, hey, you know, only like 50% of people who get Grados are actually paying us to open them up, desolder everything, and put detachable connectors. Could you make it worse? And they were like, we got you. And here you go. Here you go. It's this big fucking pile of, like, if it was like soft fabric, maybe. But this is not a comfortable or nice thing to touch. I'm done with the wires. I'm done with the wires. Zen again. Finding my fucking Zen. I'll put the Hemps on for a second. Hold on. I don't know how to lower the volume on this song cause yet. I gotta get the remote. I need I just need to be reminded why I do the job I do. Because I don't do the job I do to complain about wires, although it seems like I do, and people seem to like it more. Yes. Okay. Enjoyment. Musical enjoyment. That's why we're here. Oh, fuck. I had nearly forgotten. Let's do the 60s first. On the wire. I'm hoping that I get a little more low end. I haven't swapped the headphone pads yet. I'm going to pause this video in a bit. And I'm going to put these big Grado 1000 pads on the 60s. Because the Grado 60Es sound bigger, wider, and have more low end. But these have better detail. So what I'm hoping happens is put the 1000 massive pads on it, which, while improving comfort, are not like as good as the Shipabo's $65 pads. I'm hoping they will add a little bit more, just a little bit more low end, because they're so clean and airy. They're like Sundara for $100 with problems. But now we go to the 80s, which I said sound very, very similar. Lower that. Actually, lower that. There's just a little bit. I know I'm listening to Star Wars and it's probably going to get demonetized because these are all fucking Grados and they're wide open. There's just a little bit more warmth to it. Like, it's not a big enough change that I'm like, oh, obviously, if you like this, you want this, or if you like this, you want that. It's just a slight change. In fact, I'm going to stop the video now. I'm going to put pads that are not these. Here, ready? These fucking pads can come the fuck off. And I'm not like I can confuse them because they're all the same, but I'll make sure I don't confuse them. So give me a second. I'm going to swap, do about 10 minutes worth of listening, various tracks, looking and listening. And then I'll come back and give you the report. Well, that didn't take long. I'm just going to take these SR60s and I'm going to unplug them from the Woo Topaz and I'm just going to throw them on the floor. Because holy fuck. Do you need these pads, bro? They're as good as Hemps. Sorta. I'm gonna get to the sorta. It's one of those where the technology, this is like the first revision of the technology change for the driver. And I love them, and I put the pads on, I built my own custom frames for them, and they ship both fucking things. And this is only the 60s. I haven't tried the 80s. I'm gonna stop the camera again and then do this again with the 80s. But my fuck you, God. Tanya. I'm doing this thing from Tanya the Evil. Being X. Fuck you, Being X. These now have low end and space and air and detail of way over $100. These are the best open headphones you can get under, I don't want to say the number, but it's not $100. It's like these are Sundara 2020. It might be these. Harmonic Dyne Zeus or these. I mean, I take the Zeus because the cable comes off and they're comfortable by default. But we're talking about raw, pure Brooklyn sound quality. With these two things changed. The pads changed and I did the Frankenstein. Right? Because here's what they look like by default. And that is not the right angle, because you see how these can pivot? You see how this pivots, but not really? Like, not fucking really, Grado. I was really good at physics and terrible at math. That's my college and high school career. Physics, 95. Math, 70. Maybe. Except if I was doing college level math, then I failed out of college because I sucked at finding the area under a curve without using a calculator. Something no one needs to fucking understand. But I know this much. When you build a headphone and you design it to have pivoting actions, 4 degrees is probably not enough. So that's why, like, the Shipibo ones, I could give you like twice the range, but I mean, it's still like you're still going with that design. So I have to fucking make it fit my head, and the way to do that is to take the headband, which is just metal, and you just flatten it out. Here, I'll do it for this one because I'm going to change it just like I did that one. Flatten it out. It's steel band. Now it's a little bit too wide, so what you do is you straighten out the ends too. Straighten out the ends. You come back in here and you just find a point and you go boop, boop. Frankenstein. That was a little crooked. Thank God it's steel and you could just do it over and over again. I'm doing it in a rush. There we go. Perfection. So now you've got a square headband that will fit, and now that fucking 1-2 degrees of change doesn't matter because you have them fitting your head. So now the geometry will fit my head, a human head, as long as because you have to go way further down on the shitty yokes. Again, it's not a problem with this, because this one, look, comes like that. It's very nice. So now we've got the comfort sorted completely, except for this fucking... Ignore the wire. I'm ignoring the wire. I'm ignoring the wire. I did have to bump this up to medium gain because I was like on low and I was like, all right, I got to go. All right, I'm going to back that down, put up to medium gain because we're a little bit further away from the driver. We actually have some semblance of low end that is appreciable. I don't think they're as good as Hemp's. That might have been an exaggeration. Then again, I'm also listening to... Actually, that's a Die Hard soundtrack? I don't remember that one from Die Hard. Metallica's Battery. Let's get to the actual meat of that. Oh, that sounds lovely. When Metallica's Battery sounds lovely. See, now I gotta know. So now... Okay, hold on. I'll show you how hard this pad swap is. If nothing else, swapping pads is relatively painless. And these pads are only like $10, so you got that going for you. Actually, I'm going to unplug that, plug that in there. So we're using the same amp. Yeah, it's a little softer stack. Wow, that's so wide. I want to see if this has better low end. That'll definitely get me blocked. See, I need another pair of these pads. I don't think I have any more of these pads to just have like back and forth. All right, so give me a second. Let me actually do some listening with this, because this great improvement, this, you gotta find out. Hi. So spent some time with that, switched a couple amps. These Shipibo pads, I haven't put them on anything but the Grados. I'm sorry, the Grado Hemps. Now they're on the 80s, and I switched to the WA 11 Topaz. And if you can get these pads, which they're currently out of stock, I'll talk to the dude and be like, hey, when? Because these are $65. These 80s are $125. if you live with the fucking wire, which would probably involve some sort of methadone or, I don't know, completely losing all feeling and sight, then this for $200 might be end game for people with the right amp. Because I have noticed these actually are sucking quite a bit of flavor out of the amplifiers, which makes me believe they'll be good on tubes. I don't have to test. I fucking tested it, all right? It doesn't have to be done on camera. I tested it. They're good on tubes, but I didn't test it with these fucking pads, which very rarely do you find like actual, like here's how these come off. These are very hard to make. So when he's charging $65, that's probably too little. And they just sort of like go on like that. You can't get them to fit better. But look at the depth on them. And putting this on with a new Frankenstein headband, this is an insane experience. I listened to Kodo, which is like Japanese taiko drums. Kodo, The Haunted. And I'm just like skipping forward, and I'm like, what is happening in my brain right now? Oh, God. Could you imagine if Grado just came with these pads? Came with the headband in like the correct shape? Came with detachable wires? They'd be competing with Odyssey. I mean, look, I don't know what's for, we're like, well, how do you compete? Like, what is Odyssey better than Grado? Grado's been around forever, and Odyssey's pretty much a newcomer, but who sells more headphones? Who has more prestige? What is the argument? Because arguably, Odyssey makes better built headphones, but they're way more money. And Grado makes a lot of headphones that are still fucking amazing, but are so annoying. So who's winning? I don't even know who they'd compete with if they fucking put out $100 headphones that didn't like, or actually every headphone I would say, assume going up $50, but you get a detachable cable and decent pads. I think that's worth it. I think like, you don't have a $100 headphone anymore? No, minimum 150, but oh my fucking God. This fucking double the cost of these headphones to $200. If they felt like they do and had a detachable cable and then sounded like this, it would still be a no-brainer. Whatever they've done with the driver tech has leaped forward. By the way, I found another set of pads on those non-Grados I got from AliExpress, but they're real loose. I'm assuming these also make the 60s sound as good as these make these sound, but it's like, it's a toss-up, all right? If you want the 60s or the 80s, I think, all right, hold on. Because I'm listening to this fucking same song now, like, for fucking 10 minutes. So I'm gonna pause that. I'm literally gonna detach this. Here we go. We detach this. We go like that. Look at that. That's a fucking NASCAR level pit stop fucking pad change. And then just for consistency's sake, we're gonna come over here. We're gonna plug into the. I hate when that happens. Also, if you're gonna make me attach fucking cable, make it a balanced 2.5mm with adapters, like every Chinese shitty fucking IEM happens to have. This is still amazing. There's no, like, this 80s are softer. There's a softness. It's just a fucking, like, it's almost not even worth selling both pairs of these. This is 60, this is the 80, make a 70, and then cancel the other two because they're so close. Because I'm listening to this, I don't think I prefer one or the other. As a person who listens to headphones quite regularly, now on the same amp, on the same pads, all I could say is that the 60s maybe aren't as warm, maybe 5% warmth. It's still in a fucking switching shacks. Hold on. Marge. Oh my God, yeah. Freeze's transformation from Dragon Ball Z. Okay. Alright, let's do that again. Let's do that again. Hold on, I'm gonna do that again. I'm gonna do that again. I'm gonna pop those off. Do that. Do this. Then I'm gonna do diligence. Do this. Wah! I mean woo. Wait, wah woo. If you're paying attention, woo. I need more of these Wah 11 topazes so I can make like a giant stack of like 5 of them across. I don't know how I would adjust the volume though. I'm not touching the volume on it because it's another thing. I don't have any. All right. I actually hear more of a difference specifically. Maybe I just haven't done to enough tracks with these specific pads. So the 80s sound a little more forward. This is me discovering things while doing the review. It's always good when your reviewer is, you could say it's unprepared, but the discovery is what's exciting. And you want to have me when I'm excited, not after I've written a 50-page report and I start reading the highlights. This is it. This is when it's like, wait, this particular song and this particular opening. The low end actually isn't as impressive as the 60s. That's the weird part. But there's more going on in the rest of the range than the 60s, except somehow the 60s went with low end with specifically different pads, not by default, not with this fucking. I wouldn't even use these to wash my dishes. These look like something you'd scrub like your fucking oven pans with. What is this? Not like these are much better, but they're at least, these are accessible and $10. And these are slightly inaccessible, 2-week wait for delivery, and they're out of stock, and they're $65. But this is the first Grado specific design pad that I don't think fucks up Grados and only improves them. I don't know which one I like more. Now, if I'm putting a gun to my head, which one, 60s or 80s? These pads, amp I like. Well, there's. God, these sound good. I can't even imagine what the 325s are going to be like. Because that's the thing. I fucking love the Grado sound. And with these pads, with either these pads or these pads, you getting that fucking like comfort out of it. And then the soundstage opens up and the low end picks up. Like all these things are improved. It's like, again, it's like these are just to protect the drivers. Like, oh, we can't ship it like this. It might get damaged. Quick, put some shitty foam in front of it. There, now it won't get damaged in shipping. By the way, I also added blue painter's tape to the left-hand side because it's just my personal thing. So because ready? Unless you memorize that the sticks have to be on the back, because otherwise you can't tell unless I've picked these up a million times and gone, oh, that says right. Because you put them down and you don't remember the orientation. So I'm a big proponent of being able to see from behind it where left and right is without doing that. So now I can, because the blue tape's on the left side. You know, these are amazing. They sound amazing. The whole new Grado line sounds amazing. Nothing sounds bad. I'm imagining the 325X, which I remember previous revisions my friend had and said it was just a treble fucking monster. And now DMS is running them on tubes and said it's the warmth king of the world. It's like he's crawling inside a polar bear, a dead polar bear, a gutted dead polar bear. You climb inside and there's just music in the dead polar bear. It's like, that's what it's like. I'm looking forward to the 325X. Everything they've done sound-wise is an improvement and great. Everything else is either a slight improvement or stagnation or fucking pure misconduct. Purely misconduct. Because I gave a lot of shit to the hemp one, but my God, this is like luxury softness now compared to this. Fucking like, is it flame proof? Are we putting these on firefighters and sending them into burning buildings? Why is it like this? Why is this like this, Grado? Are they breaking? Were these breaking? And this is the heavy duty one. The little ones in the regular 60s, were those break? No one was there. If they break, it's a good thing because you get to replace the wire. You understand? I want it to break so I could replace the wire. This is like guaranteed to never break. It's shielded. Shielded from misfortune by being a pain in the ass. I love the sound of the 60s and the 80s. With these pads, specifically the shippable pads, I'd probably maybe take the 80s. Oh God, it's so wide. And this is all pad. That's the thing. I'm not reviewing these headphones anymore because now it's a headphone and the pad because they become a different beast. If I put back the fucking nightmare pads, we're going to refer to these as the nightmare pads, by the way. And I'm putting on the 60 pads on the 80s because it doesn't fucking matter. If I put the nightmare pads back on and I put on Tom Morello's We Don't Need You, and that's the thing. I knew I was going to love these headphones with the stock nightmare pads. So let's put them back on. I still have the fucking... They're still shaped better. Go back to the beginning. It's exact same track, exact same start. Didn't touch the amp. It's like the bottom third of the frequency response is just like -12. So I'm still getting the highs and the spaciousness, but there's no low end, and it's a little bit narrower. So that's what these pads buy you for $65. Buy these pads if they come back in stock, please. In fact, I'm going to have to ask them for another set of them. They almost aren't needed on the hemp. As far as sound signature goes, the sound signature of the stock hemps and then the fucking Grado 1000 hemps is perfect. Putting this on there exacerbates what was already there. So I would almost say skip it if you have the hemps. If you have the hemps, skip the $65 pads. Although they are... For comfort's sake and actually being fabric, look, it's foam covered in a fabric. You see this? This is a foam not covered in a fabric. This is a fabric. You can actually like I don't think you can wash it, but my God, it's you could sweat on it and it doesn't just stay there and then like get into your skin and you got to get a dermatologist. So yes on the shippable pads, yes on the aluminum frames and headbands. The actual frames here are a bit expensive, but they're custom made. This for 60 bucks, 65, I think. Hold on, I have it open. I have it open. Yeah, 100, 125. The single classic, the ceramic gimbal is $65. These are the aluminum gimbal, aluminum sets. Yeah, this one with the short, because you can make them that go all the way around. These are $120 for the set, but you can get them in silver. And then the headbands themselves, this headband, there's two. There's a $50 one, which is regular black leather headband for Grado. And then there's the wide comfort leather headband, which is what this is. And it's only $60. It's $10 more. Honestly, either one of those is going to be a fucking tremendous improvement for any higher end Grados. This I actually accept. I accept this improvement, Grado. I accept it. I accept this improvement. I don't accept the other things. Oh, I also got a cable from Shipbo, which it's a detachable cable in case you do a detachable cable mod for the Grados, which I haven't done yet. That's here. Yeah, it's that one with the sharp metal block. And then where's ear pads? Ear pads, there's only one. It's out of stock. It's $65 and 2 weeks to ship to the US. Don't get lost. I can take up to 6 weeks to be delivered. These are probably my favorite thing so far that I've changed. They're just impossible to get. So you're going to get these for now because they're $12 or $13, whatever the link in the description says. And then if you have the long-term goals, these. And then as far as 60s or 80s, I'm just going to continue to say the 80s are slightly warmer. Although when you do pad mods, the 60s somehow have more bass. Like low bass, like actual like whoa bass. It's a hard description to come across. My God. They're such good headphones. And that's the thing. You can order these. All right, let me stop you right now. Before if you're still watching this video, pause. Buy the headphones. Do the thing to bend the headband because you can still unbend it and put it back in the box if you want to return it. Listen with the stock shitty nightmare pads. Listen to them. Use them for... Oh, God damn it, Grado. Actually, that's just this rotating around that. Use them for a couple of days. Listen to them. Break them in. Get 20 hours on them before the return window. If you're not fucking in love with the way these sound, regardless of how shitty they feel or how much you hate the wire, return them. But if you're like me and you go, holy fuck, I just wish these were more comfortable, or I just wish they had a little bit more low end, then you can invest in the $10 pads. Then you can decide if you want to go with the shippable pads or if you want to go full fucking hot. Like, there's nothing like in my mind that says you shouldn't spend $100 on headband and gimbals for the cheapest of the Grado sets. These are so fucking good, they're worth it. There's absolutely nothing. If you went out and it's like KPH30Is. They're $30. And if you pull those drivers out and put them in a fucking, retired ZMF housing, I'd be fine with it. Because the sound that those make is worth it. The sound that these make is worth the effort to go through. Again, though, I wish they would make it so that you could just... Actually, is that glued in? How do they have the drivers in here this time? Can I just pop that out? Because the biggest problem with modifying the Grados is usually the drivers are glued in. And I don't see any glue around this. It might just be compressioned in there. I'll find out. Anyway, I'm shipping these at DMS. They're going to be in this shape. He's not going to be able to wear them like that because his ears are where his gills are, under his neck. So he's going to have to straighten them back out, which is going to make them less comfortable. At least they were less comfortable for me, or it's going to fuck up the angularity because now that looks perfect. Look, doesn't barely have to bend. That's exactly like, look, on my head, off my head, and it has that little bit of adjustment while it's on my head versus fucking bent. I'm done. There's a sound demo. It's on the other channel. The other channel is where all the sound demos live and the reviews, which I'm going to probably film one of those reviews today because it's been months. If you like the review series where I go back and watch my old reviews, that's where you're going to find it. So go to the sound demo link in the description. I'll probably put a comment somewhere. That wallpaper, which is amazing, but the face about the wires, is the wire face is there, is in the description as well. So sound demo, wallpaper, Patreon and Subscribestar. You want to see these reviews early so that you can get angry with me earlier? That costs you $5 a month. And with that $5, you also get to participate in the yard sales. So I can't sell these. They're going to DMS. And I'll get the 325X. I think we might decide to sell after that, but I'm pretty sure if his description of the 325X is accurate, and I believe it, and then I put the shippable pads on it, he's probably going to have a fight with me on which one, who gets to keep which one. So maybe we would both sell the cheaper ones and both get 325X and be like a big gauge 325X couple, and we'd hold hands and run through the meadows. But anyway, $5 a month gets you into the yard sale where I sell things that I've been sent to by companies that they don't want it back, or I've purchased, or people have donated. So if I just have a pile of fucking IRMs like that, and I'm like, I'm done with this, they're all great, or this one sucks, but fucking take it. $5 a month gets you into the yard sale. $5 a month also gets you to the uncompressed lossless sound demo thing, and also the martyred 200 sound demos that were removed from YouTube. You can get to the audio on there. So if you miss the old sound demos, you want to participate in the yard sales, and you want to see reviews early, $5 a month on Patreon or Subscribestar. Subscribestar, I get a slightly higher percentage, but it's a weird site that not many are on. However, adult.subscribestar.com is filthy and disgusting. So if you want to look at adult.subscribestar.com, you can do that on your own. I'm not linking that. But yeah, and then $10 a month puts you in the behind-the-scenes private Telegram chat, where if you want to ask me questions directly, you really can't get to me any other way without any sort of I haven't checked my Patreon messages in like 2 months. So I apologize. If you sent me a message on Patreon, there's probably 5,000 of them in there. I sometimes check comments on posts, and I certainly check the comments on the YouTube public. But if you're in my private $10 patronage chat, I will answer any questions you have. I occasionally pop into my Discord, which is linked into the social media links there. There's a Discord, there's a public Telegram. I'm around. You can get to me, and I can get to you. Yeah, and that's it. Thank you for stopping by. I hope that I did the sound demo with, I think, the stock pads, but it was weird. It was a weird thing. I wonder if the shippable pads would allow me to record it with it on. That would be amazing. We'll see. When the 325X are here, I might do something more crazy with the trying to record it. Anyway, wallpaper again. Don't forget that, because that'll fit on my new phone. This has, wait, where is it? I'm going to eventually review this phone, but all my old wallpapers, all my 2351 vertical wallpapers are now set as my backgrounds. So that's good for me. And if you have a Sony Xperia 1, you can do that as well. I'm going. Fuck. This is taking so long. I'm just taking the goddamn headset off. Goodbye, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow or whatever.